Sparkly black and charcoal eyeshadow is one of my favorite categories of shadows to wear. And in my opinion, just wearing one of these types of shadows as a one and done shade is the most effortless and classic way of achieving a smoky eye. It's something that transcends a fashion trend and something that we'll never be tired of. I've got single shadows and palettes that provide options for this category, so let's go ahead and swatch them and get into it. First, we have a single shadow from Dose of Colors. Dose of Colors carries a range of single shadows called the Block Party singles. And in this range, they have a sparkly black shadow called X-Ray. This shade is an absolute OG. It's been around for years, and it's really a fantastic quality. It has really pretty silver leaning sparkles throughout. And I do want to mention that I think these are on sale for $5 a piece on the Dose of Colors website, so a really good deal. And as you'll see later, I actually have a palette from Dose of Colors to recommend as well because I feel like Dose does dark and sultry neutral shadows so well. Next, we have an eyeshadow duo from Rabanne. This little duo is like a perfect smoky eye on the go. It includes a really sparkly black shadow as well as a satin black shadow. I also just find the tin packaging on this little duo to be so unique and stand out. And these are a little bit pricey at around $30, but from what I've seen, they do participate at times in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, which could give you a chance at getting these 50% off. And next we have a shadow from Moira Cosmetics. This is the shade You Up. It's part of their Chroma Lights collection. This shade is incredibly sparkly, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Moira does sparkly and shiny makeup so well and at such an affordable price point. They genuinely continue to be a brand I want to tell people about. And next we have what I would consider to be a hidden gem. It's a Dazzle Gel from KVD Vegan Beauty. This is the shade Onyx Void. These Dazzle Gels just have a sparkle that's on another level. Onyx Void has absolutely insane multicolored sparkles throughout. And the gel in mine did dry out a little bit, but it still swatches beautifully, wears great, and you can revive this with Duraline, I've been told. So I just need to pop in a little bit of Duraline into my jar and then it'll be as good as new. And next we have a liquid shadow from Lisa Eldridge. This is the Liquid Lurex formula. This is the shade Liza, which I would describe as a charcoal, and I've talked about this formula quite a few times because I think it gives the most beautiful wet sheen on the lids. It's also very sparkly, but it's effortless, and you can blend it out with your finger. They're gonna stay intact all day. Just a formula that's so lovely to use and one that I won't stop recommending. And now we're going to get into a couple of single shadows from Bella Beauté Bar. Bella Beauté Bar is an indie brand. They sell eyeshadow palettes, but they also sell hand-pressed single shadows that are so special, especially their holographic shades. They have hollows that are so deep, smoky, and grungy, just incredibly unique. These are the shades Black Magic Hollow and Witch Bee Hollow. So if you like smoky tones and holographic shadows, this is definitely a formula I would recommend. And next I have two single shadows to recommend from Touch of Glam Beauty. Touch of Glam Beauty is also an indie brand. They hand press all of their eyeshadows. And one of my favorite categories of shadows from the brand is the birthday type shadows. All of the shadows in this line tend to be very dimensional. A lot of them have multicolored sparkles throughout. And this is one of my favorite shadows from the brand. This is called Hallucination. And then we have the shade I'm a 90s Baby, which on me looks like a gunmetal, and it also has a lot of sparkle and shine. I think you can really see in the swatch on my fingertip and on my hand just how shiny and reflective this shade is. And then here's what all of those shades look like swatched to my arm. I just can't get over how much I love black and charcoal eyeshadows. For the second part of this video, I want to focus on palettes that provide black and charcoal shadows. I'm going to start with a classic. This is ColourPop's Blow and Smoke. And although this palette looks new, it's a repurchase for me. In my opinion, it's one of ColourPop's best 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, just such a classic. In this one, you get a black matte with shimmer, and you also get a really beautiful deep charcoal. And here's what the whole palette looks like swatched on the back of my hand. That silver swatch right in the middle is also really catching my eye. And next we have a palette from Cheap. This was done in collaboration with Freya. In general, I think this palette really captures the dark and smoky vibes. It's got some hollows and also some other really special shimmers in here. On my fingertips, I'm swatching the charcoal shimmer, and then I couldn't help it. I just really wanted to show you one of those red hollows. And here's what all of those shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. This is definitely one of my favorite palettes from 2024. And next we have a palette from Bella Beauty Bar. This is the Vamp palette. I truly think this is one of the best palettes that the brand has ever done. In this palette, you get a black shimmer that has red sparkles throughout. Like, that is not a shade type that's easy to come by at all. And then you also get a black matte with red shimmer. And then I also have to mention that this palette includes Skin of a Killer, which is such a beautiful diamond sparkly topper type shade. And here's what the whole palette looks like swatched on the back of my hand. As you can see, you get some really beautiful holographic shadows in here as well. Next we have the Dose of Colors She's a 10 palette. This palette is another one that I feel is a hidden gem, definitely very underrated. It's honestly one of the most beautiful neutral palettes that I've seen. And in this palette, you get an absolutely beautiful charcoal shimmer, and you also get a really perfect taupe shade. Here's what the whole palette looks like swatched in the back of my hand. And I know I talk about colorful eyeshadow often, but I am such a sucker for a sultry neutral palette. And now we have the Viseart Cyrenus palette. This is a palette that came out at the end of last year, and I have to say, I think it's my favorite palette from the brand. I would also describe this as a really smoky, sultry neutral palette. And this is the palette where Viseart really stepped up on their shimmer formula. And this shade that I'm swatching is just sort of a black shimmer. In of itself, it's not the most special shade that I've shown you, but hopefully when you see all of the swatches on the back of my hand, you can see how special these shimmers are. And I absolutely love the Viseart matte formulation. I definitely feel there's a reason why so many makeup artists use Viseart. And then last but not least, we have Natasha Denona's Xenon palette. And Xenon has a sparkly black, and then it also has almost like a blackened sparkly blue. Honestly, I feel like this palette from Natasha Denona is pretty underrated. I think the shimmers in here are a step up, and you can get some really beautiful smoky tone looks with this one. Here's what Xenon looks like swatched on the back of my hand. And then here's some swatches of those black and charcoal shimmers from all of the palettes that we talked about. I know this list is in no ways comprehensive, but I really hope that you found it helpful. Let us know in the comments if you have any other sparkly black or charcoal shadows that you would recommend, as well as any other colors that you'd like to see me focus on. And I'll see you in the next video.